Anything that you are doing in your life will be better if you communicate it better. I call it neuroeconomic communication. How the brain processes thoughts, images, ideas, right? Person, place, power. Everybody's brain remembers information by these three things. It's not, I invested. That's the action you took. You got to tell the audience what are the thoughts you had before you invested. That's inner dialogue. That's how you enhance a story. The best way to get better at communication and closing more sales is to lend yourself to care more, right? If you're trying to hold people's attention, one of the first things I teach in frameworks is what I call an anticipation hook. An anticipation hook would be something like,
it has to work or it has to work.
Welcome to Circle of Greatness. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davidson. Y'all been seeing me, man. Y'all see me speaking. Y'all see me getting better. But I want to go ahead and share with you, man, one of the weapons that has helped me so much in speaking. Without further ado, man, this is a brother of mine, a friend of mine, a friend-tor of mine. Like, we've been in the trenches together for the last 10 years, and I had to bring him back for an episode, and I want to talk about the speaking business. My guy, Marcus Y Rosier. What's up, bro?
my brother, it's good to see you, man.
Bro, how you feeling, bro?
I feel amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, I'm happy you feel amazing. I'm sorry. You know me, I be on go. I was about to just start. How you feeling? My fault.
You good, man. I feel amazing for a whole lot of reasons, man. I'm always happy when I see my friends, my brother, doing something that he loves. So I see you locked in. You got a level of focus, man.
Yeah. You know, and you know me, we've been together a while now, working and just doing our thing. It's like when I lock in on something, I lock in. So it's like, it's been the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I told the story, but I'm going to give you guys this because I want to talk about the speaking business. And I don't know if it's more so the speaking business, but I'm probably just going to have them coach me live on becoming a better speaker, because it's so many ways, whether it's sales, and you can explain all the different, it's so many facets to it, but I want y'all to put in the comments, right? Write the word resourceful, right? One of the things I always tell people, I used to get booked for speaking engagements and I sucked at speaking. He's going to say I didn't, but I don't care what he says. I just was horrible. But what most people would do, you suck at speaking, so you stop trying to speak. What I did, instead of, although I wasn't great at speaking, when these people were booking me, I had this idea. I said, and me and him met at a conference, a free conference that we both spoke at, and we've been tight ever since. Probably about 7 to 10 years now.
About 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years now, right? Which is, just time is flying, dog. yeah. 10 years?
You got to think, bro, you got a full family right now.
Full family, right. My daughter's 4. I still lived in Philly.
Yeah.
So my daughter's 4. Well, I've been in Atlanta for 4 years. That got to be a long time ago.
It's been a minute.
Because we was doing the boardroom bosses. We was doing all type of stuff.
The prices of that.
Oh, man. I don't even want to tell y'all, because those prices, you would never get them again. But what we used to do, y'all, was I would get booked for a speaking engagement. I would call Marcus like, bro, can you come speak? I got a plan. I'm not the greatest speaker. I don't know if I told him that, but the whole plan was I would always speak first. He is so good at speaking that he would always go second, and he would just fix anything I messed up. So this is St. Joe's, it's Kutztown, it's wherever. That was my plan. And now I'm the speaker that you guys are looking at. I still need a whole lot of work, but I drastically have improved. And it's 2 parts. I've got coaches. Marcus is one of the coaches I got. And the biggest thing that I think people overlook, Marcus, is actually putting reps in. Yeah. Like, the game you give me is exceptional. It's fire, but I don't believe I would be as good without speaking in a consistent manner. Like for you, I watched this dude speak 50 times. I've never heard the same message more than one time. Wow. Ever. If it's the same message, it's a snippet where you take something out of the message, you put it into a new message, but it's never, you hear me speak, I got 3 to 5 joints, you're going to get the same ones for the most part. Every one of yours is like different. So it's like, one, I want to know, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
Right. So, like, how is that even possible first?
So 2 sides of it, like even the frame. So I got to make sure that anybody listening hear it in the right frame, because some people might say speaking business. No, we're talking communication, right? So
everybody needs that. You don't got to be a professional speaker to do that.
You don't have to want to, as a profession, want to be a speaker. However, the question I would ask anyone is anything that you are doing in your life will be better if you communicate it better. So if you say, hey, I'm a woman who wants to be a better mother, you can't do that without communication. Yeah, I would tell anybody to frame it correctly. When you hear speaking, like people will have what some would call resistance to it. Anytime you hear a term of something you don't see yourself as, you resist it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not that, because we love to self-identify, which is a part of speaking, right? But ultimately, we're talking communication. Anything you want to be great at, communication makes it better. If you want to be a great mom and you say, I want to be a better mom, that's not just actions, that's communicating to your child. You say, I want to be a better husband. You can't do that without communication. I want my staff to be better. Can't do that without communication. So some people now will look at, let's say in a sales environment, man, ads not working. You spend more in ads if you don't communicate well. Communicating in copy, communicating in video reduces what you got to spend in ad spend because people don't mind watching and clicking. So I'm telling people that to develop this skill, this is a skill that changes everything for you. So what we have conversations about is I'm not telling you what to say. I'm just taking your raw ideas you already have, and I'm helping you put them in containers, AKA words that people can hear it, see it, and make a decision to buy from you. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you mentioned it like that, because some people are probably like, well, the speaking business, I don't think to be a speaker. You want to communicate better with your wife, with your husband, with your coworkers, with your employees, with whoever. This will help you once you understand just this game.
Yeah, because even when people, let's use an athlete, right? If you play basketball, football, whatever the case may be, if you wanted to get, I was watching Last Dance, the Jordan thing again. I was just in that mindset. And they was talking about how he lost every year. From the 80s all the way to 91 was when he won his first championship. You know what Jordan had to do to win his championship in 91? Not get better at basketball, get stronger.
Wow.
So he started lifting weights, he hired his trainer, and he put on 15 pounds. If most people think to get better at communication or sales or marketing, they just got to create more content. No, you have to improve on all of the skills. Clear communication comes from a clear mind. Most people are so unclear, they ramble. So they think, oh, I killed it. No, you didn't. You just talked a lot.
Wow.
Or you were just loud. Volume doesn't mean quality.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to help people understand in the space of what I'm really helping people do, right? I call it neuroeconomic communication. Neuro, which is how the
NEC.
how the brain processes thoughts, images, ideas, right? Psychology. Companies understand this, why they do colors, that's why they do scents. They understand how to hold attention. That's ultimately why people here's the statement, right? Super Bowl just passed. Attention is so expensive that people pay $7 million for 30 seconds of it.
Wow. Wow.
So what was the point of paying for?
And that's just you still got to produce the commercial.
And the commercial is what? It's the format of how they place words for you to see them and hear them to make a buying decision on a product. That's communication.
Yeah.
That's neuroeconomic communication. They had to think about what images, what words, what do we have to say for people to see it and make a decision that I want to buy that. And they were willing to pay $7 million for 30 seconds for properly placed communication.
Wow. That's crazy when you break it down that way. Wow.
So you have people now.
And the message got a hit in front of them people.
You're not guessing what to say.
Yeah.
Hey, so today I just popped on here to talk about, that's how people are treating social media. People keep asking me, that's bad communication, because we don't know who those people are, so you didn't validate the information. If you're a realtor, you should say, realtors who are not closing deals are asking me. If you're a person who is doing challenges and no one's buying on the back end, people who are doing challenges and can't get people to stay all 5 days, ask me this one question. Now you've validated the information with communication. You see how that small, subtle piece changes how much money you make?
Yeah. Wow. It's like I remember my guy, he would always talk about, Josh, he would always talk about Amazon, and or Amazon, whether it's Josh or somebody around real estate. So if you're looking to get in real estate and you got no money, bad credit, this, and at the end you try to sell a product and no one buys, look who you talking to. You said you're looking to get into real estate with no money, bad credit.
Yeah.
Now, when you change it, hey, if you got $5,000 to $10,000 to invest to learn real estate, now you talking to That
100
person who I'm not
100%.
going to listen if I don't have $5,000 to $10,000 now.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Can I give like context and strategy?
100%.
Right. So like one of the things, if I were trying to tell someone right now, they say, hey, I'm a business owner, or I run a staff and I'm trying to get buy-in. If you're trying to hold people's attention, bro, whether it's social media, IG Live, whether it's challenges, webinars, speaking from stage, podcasts, one of the first things I teach in frameworks is what I call an anticipation hook. People always say, do a hook. But there's so many variations of hooks, right? An anticipation hook would be something like, in 2024, everything that used to work isn't working anymore. There's 3 things you're going to have to do if you want to make money. You now anticipate what? The 3 things.
How often do I supposed to do this anticipation hook? Every time you speak?
So when you're going in and out of it. So I would go anticipation hook. I would teach the actual thing, right? So that might be the information in their head. I might tell them something they can actually do. That's something they can do with their hands. And then I humanize it by things I'm seeing other people doing or mistakes I made, right? So now you humanize the whole thing. That's a great speech. Yeah. That ain't got to be 30 seconds. That could be from stage, where you walk on stage and you immediately now are giving them an anticipation of, hey, there's no way I'm going to be, if I'm Nehemiah Davis, there's no way I can tell you how I went from a food truck to an 8-figure business owner in a matter of seconds. But I can tell you the one thing that'll make you $1 million this year.
Wow.
What is that? An anticipation hook.
Look, you just come up with this stuff that easy?
Yeah.
That's like, I really need, give me like 20 of them joints. That's the hook, right? Give me 20 hooks. Those joints is powerful, bro.
Now, I would probably go 3 things, 5 things, 2 things. Here's why. Yeah. You can intentionally not tell them the second thing and force the audience to say, where's the second one?
See, my question to you, bro, is like, how do I digest more? Like, I do hooks.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't got the science to the hook. Yeah. It's like, you helped me with my ClickFunnels speech on how to, between you and Myron, y'all helped me in various ways on what to say. You know, like the things we went through, we did it in like 2 days, really, just things I can add to make it better, to enhance it. And you're like, bro, you also got to do this. Hold that. I gotta digest. Yeah. I gotta do that first, get this locked in before I go to the next. How do I keep all the info? Because I'm like, people say I'm a good speaker now. I'm in like ClickFunnels. They definitely say I was one of the top 3. Myron event, one of the top 3. Like, if I get on a stage with someone else, for the most part, unless I'm going up again, my top 5 is you, Darius.
Darius a monster.
Inky.
Yeah.
Inky bad boy.
Yeah.
E and Myra. That's probably my top 5.
To make it in that top 5.
Yeah,
boy.
that's probably my top 5 off the top. I go, and this is no particular order. It's you, Inky, Darius, Myron, and ET, right? That's for me personally, right?
Even to speak to that, right? If someone hears it, they'll think, okay, Darius, phenomenal. He's one of my favorites.
He's a bad boy.
He has a communication style. Inky is more inspirational speaker. Eric Thomas, motivational speaker. Myron is more teacher, presenter, right? Yeah. So the same way music has genres, you wouldn't place Jay-Z in a category with Beyonce.
100%.
Jay-Z makes music, but he makes rap. Beyonce makes R&B. All speakers are in different genres.
100%.
Right?
That makes sense.
So I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not an inspirational speaker. I communicate specifically in a way that teaches people how to make a decision, either to buy something or to make a decision to take an action to change their life, right? So there's a reason when people say, man, most people just lazy. No, there's a reason that people don't take action. There's something internally that stops them from it. So what I would have to do, to your point, like how do you come up with it? I'm thinking deep empathy. I'm thinking about the psychology. That's what that neuro part, the psychology of what is the person thinking that prevents them from it. So if I attack you head on and tell you, man, the problem is you're lazy, it depends on who I am. Like if I'm Eric Thomas and said, you receive it. But if it's a cold audience, they're offended. So I would then have to, speaking to the point you said something critical, and we're going to create a framework real time. You said, how do I enhance it? That's the word. Yeah. So we were creating enhancement stories. One of the ways to do that, bro, if you got an audience that don't know you, don't trust you, your enhancement story could be where You are talking about the inner dialogue you had with yourself. Let me get your point. So this, you say, how do I retain all this? That's all you call it, inner dialogue. It's what's the thought you had when you were about to make a decision, not the decision you made, not the action. For example, it's not, I invested. That's the action you took. You got to tell the audience what is the thoughts you had before you invested. That's inner dialogue. That's how you enhance a story. Man, so I pulled out my credit card. Now, I'm going to be honest, y'all. Now you back out of it. The whole time, I'm like, what if this don't work? You're bringing them into your inner dialogue of all the thoughts you were thinking. Now, why would you do that? Because you're about to teach them the thoughts they're thinking is keeping them from taking action. They got no resistance on that.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like that, all that sound like I got to keep hearing it. I got to keep hearing it. And then I got to do one, do another. You get me? It's like.
Only thing I will tell you is whenever you're preparing for a story or anyone else, you can't just think about what you want to say. You naturally do it. If you had a headache right now, you would say, man, I got a terrible headache. That's the statement. It was like nails driving through my head. That's an enhancement.
Yeah, I feel it too. Like when you say that.
You're using words to describe what you're feeling. That's all it is, right? So now you're just putting it in communication form where a person has to be able to see it, hear it. So I want anybody to be able to get how important this is, how important communication is, that you almost want to name it something else, because when you hear it, there's going to be resistance. People are going to make excuses and say, well, I'm just not good with words. You are. It just means you're not clear in your mind. Right? So if you ask me right now, come speak to middle schoolers, I'll say no, because I have to think too hard of what to come up with to resonate with them.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm clear on this is who I'm speaking to. I have that person in my head all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just that. It's just getting clear. So if you said, what area do you want to improve in? When you told me, you was like, bro, I want to tell the story. Cool. You were clear on what you wanted. Now, Neil, let's do these things.
Yeah. Let me get some live coaching right now. So school I graduated from, MCS charter school, last year, meaning she's retiring, so she's going to shut the school down. She don't want her legacy messed up by giving it to somebody else, which is fine, you know, however she want to do that. There's a mentor of mine, like a mom. She accepted me in her school after I got kicked out. I became one of her success students, you could say, based on some of the things I'm doing now. I may go do the commencement. Commencement is 10, 12 minutes. I don't know how to even approach that. Like I was going to go start off with thinking about, I heard JL say vision up, but something around vision and action. I don't know. Like how do I drive a point across in 12 minutes, drive the point that I came from nothing? Like, how do I do that in 12 minutes, bro?
Yeah. So here's the framework I would tell you. I wouldn't tell you what to say.
Yeah.
I would tell you how to compartmentalize it.
Okay.
I'm going to start with an example.
Yeah.
If you walked into this beautiful home in this room and the house had nothing in it, which when you bought it, it didn't, it would seem out of place to put the bed here.
Yeah.
Bed goes where?
In the bedroom.
Which means you need a framework to tell you what to put where. First thing is, you said vision, that's the subject. Mm-hmm. We're building a house now. Mm-hmm. What's the topic what's the target you want to hit within vision? Vision's too broad. Vision for our personal life, vision for our finances,
I want them
vision
to
for our
know that
relationship.
they could go out here and go make it happen and a lot quicker.
Gotcha. So you're talking about making a decision to make their dreams happen.
Yeah.
That's the target.
Yeah.
See
and
how,
not delaying their dreams.
See how you went from this broad subject of vision, you just picked a target. How they can make their dreams happen and how they cannot delay it. Now you know everything else that you're going to talk about, it has to fit that. Mm-hmm. You got guardrails. You know what I'm saying? Already you're getting clearer. Now you say, what's the outcome I want them to walk away with? This should be one simple sentence. Man, I want them to walk away. If they could walk away saying blank, you fill in that blank. Mm-hmm. We're making your brain get clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. Now you don't start preparing your speech until you have them first three. Subject is vision. The target is I want them to walk away feeling like they can take action on their dreams and they shouldn't delay it. Mm-hmm. That in essence is the outcome.
Yeah. And you said the outcome also should be something they lead with. Is that like a success, love, speed?
100%. It could be a statement. It could be a thought. It could be an action they can take immediately. Like you got to go into it already. I got
this new joint. I don't know if I heard someone say it, but now I got no opportunity wasted. But now it's also no other way.
I love
Like
that.
now is no other way.
You got one.
Yeah.
Did-
And then
like-
I got another one. Like I'm trying to figure. I literally came up with this earlier. It's no other option. Like this must work in this season of your life.
Yeah.
Like I need you to tell you no every time you are telling yourself it won't work. Say no. Like no other option. It's going to work almost. Like I'm working through that now. But
Even with something like that, right? All you doing is you would, if anybody's listening to this happens in any environment. If you at a dinner table, like some people are gonna hear this and like, Neil's speaking on stage. If you're at a dinner table and you have to have a conversation with your family, how are you gonna make sure that what you say sticks so you ain't have to revisit it? If you just told your staff members the 3 most important things to you for 2024 in the business, and here's what I'm gonna be monitoring to see if I gotta do layoffs. How are you going to communicate that in a way that sticks?
yeah.
So I'm giving people these scenarios because this is literally how we can use the same thing. I do it all the time in my company. I've got all of these different things that stick. So for you, if the thing is no opportunity wasted, everything else you say got to sit underneath that. What most people do in a speech, they would say that earlier, but everything else they say wouldn't match that. No opportunity wasted. And then they'll talk about something talk about this, and expect the person to grab all the pieces and organize their thought. That is not effective communication.
Yeah.
So if that's why we said the subject, the topic, if the outcome is that, when you get into these next parts, you're now saying, okay, everything else I talk about got to sit under that. Let me do it right now. Let's make up something. Let's make up. There's a reason why people say yes to you and why people say no to you. That's an anticipation hook. Why? You're sitting on the edge of your seat wondering, why do people say yes? Why do people say no?
That's called an anticipation hook.
I just made you organize what I'm about to say next in your head.
Yeah.
There is a reason why people say yes and why people say no. Anybody understand what I mean by that? There's a reason why people say yes and people say no. Yeah. The whole audience knows my outline now.
Yo, if you're anything like me, you're mesmerized and you're very much so intrigued about how you're going to enhance your speaking capabilities. Like you're trying to figure out like, how can I work with him? So listen, y'all, I've been able to convince Marcus to do a speaking training, right? We don't know the date yet, but you have to apply to be a part of it. We'll have a conversation with you to see if you're a good fit. This is for someone looking to enhance their coaching business, enhance just their speaking period. But if you use these strategies, I can promise you, you're going to book more stages. You're going to close more deals. You're going to have a better relationship with your spouse, and you're going to win in every area. In the description below, you will see a link for you to go ahead and apply, but it's going to be absolutely incredible. But let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, so if we're having a conversation with somebody and you need the audience quickly to grab their attention, I want to grab every scenario, because ultimately our primary audience is people that we work with or people who are making money in business, right? Entrepreneurs.
Yep.
So entrepreneurs are communicating for the purpose of collecting more cash, creating more credibility, and generating more revenue, right? So if you're trying to get clients, credibility, et cetera, that has to be done in a very specific way.
Yeah.
So if I started with a hook of there's a reason people say yes and a reason people say no, is it okay if I tell you the 3 reasons why someone would say yes and buy from you?
Yeah.
If somebody's writing down notes, I just gave them what notes to write down. It's so easy. I'm not forcing the audience to work. I'm talking to their subconscious. You ain't got to work consciously to think about what I'm saying. You know right now, you can repeat it. Reasons people say yes, reasons people say no, and now I'm in the 3 reasons people say yes. So you know I'm on this category.
Wow.
That fast, you know, this what side we on.
Wow.
If it's physical, I'm walking to the right side because now that's yes.
Yeah.
Then when I go to the reasons people say no, just like that, the audience is not working. It is clear. And what am I doing if I'm trying to sell? I'm painting a picture in people's head of the type of personality type of a person who would say yes versus say no. I'm going to let them figure out which person they are. And chances are when I get ready to close, they get to self-identify with what I said in the beginning.
Wow.
The person that says no is this type of person. I make them the villain. Person that says yes is this type of person. I make them the hero.
Wow.
By the end, no one wants to be the villain. That's how you communicate to close more sales.
Yeah. Jeez. This is just, it's methodical, man. Like it takes, how long you think it takes to, you've been doing this over 15, 20 years. I mean, if somebody really give this some true attention, how long you think it could take before they become just better communicators?
I think if I were training someone like coming up this week, actually Friday, Saturday, I'm doing a sales and speaking boot camp.
Yeah.
And it's 2 full days of immersion. Why am I doing 2 8-hour days? Because if it were a coaching program, it might be 8 weeks, 12 weeks of 2 hours. I'm basically taking what would take 12 weeks and condensing it into 2 days.
Yeah.
The way that we're teaching it to them, I teach it to them. I pause right after I teach the concept. So if I taught the 4 steps of creating an introduction, I teach them what question you have to ask yourself to create an introduction.
Yeah.
Now, all right, y'all, I want everybody to write out their question. They're doing it in real time. So they can immediately, they have something. They implement in real time. I teach you the introduction part, we pause and you do it. I teach you the middle, you pause and you do it. I teach you how to close, what to do if someone says no. I teach you objections. So I think that person can get a result right away, but to get great at the skill, it's over time. You keep working the muscle.
Yeah.
Keep working the muscle over time, and you don't just use it in a sales environment. The best way to get better at communication and closing more sales is to lend yourself to care more, right? So you probably notice now, anytime you hear somebody speaking from stage, you pay attention to what you didn't pay attention to before.
Oh, 1,000%.
Whenever you see a Lamborghini now, you notice it. Where before you didn't notice it that way. That's what you want. You just want to train your mind to pay attention to subtleties you didn't see before. That's the first step. Introduce them to it, so when they see it, they'll lean in and pay attention more. So when I'm hearing someone, I'm not judging them. When I hear somebody communicate, I'm looking to see, can I track what they're saying? If it's all over the place and it bounces around too much, it's hard for me because I'm real systematic.
Yeah.
So I got to have a tangible takeaway, and I'm very practical. So I never speak without telling someone. I call it head, heart, hands, right? Head is where you're teaching them information that's in your head, and to their head, that's the information. Hey, so when I run a challenge, one of the things me and my partners do is we try to get as many people in the room as possible. That's head. They hear it, but they don't know how to do it. Heart is what you emotionally feel. I got sick and tired of seeing people who had great talent, great skill, but they had no way to get people in the room and close more sales. That's why you care. So here is what we put together. I want you to write this down. That's hands. That's the specific thing they can do to do the thing that's in your head and the thing that's in your heart.
Yeah, that's the triple H.
It's clear. Then I will go into humanity. It's why this matters, how this helps other people. If you're listening to this, you keep hearing the word communication and you're like, watch this. This is in real time. If I am trying to get someone, they got to picture it. I can remember sitting there on a floor. This is in Tallahassee, Florida, off of Lake Bradford. And the lights in my place was turned off. I had $11.37 to my name and don't know when I'm going to get paid again. And this is during the time, bro, $11.37 in my bank account. My greatest fear was, will I ever be able to pay all my bills at the same time? I wasn't thinking about millions of dollars. I wasn't thinking about sitting in $1 million.
Your greatest fear was?
Like, I'm sitting there, I'm afraid, will I ever be able to pay all my bills at the same time?
Got it, okay.
And I'm fashing forward. Now you're locked into a story. You're wanting to know what's next. This is enhancement. I told you Lake Bradford, that's the place.
Yeah.
Now all I got to do is
$11.37. Yeah.
So if you look at that, that's a bridge that I can walk across. Yeah. Notice how I didn't make you say $11.37, but that's the thing you remember.
I remember that, yeah. It's very specific.
That's intentional, but that's a framework. Person, place, power. Everybody's brain remembers information by these 3 things. If I
Person,
say place, power. Neil, remember when we was in Philly? Yeah. Me and you as the person, Philly is the place, and now what are you waiting on? Yeah. The story, the power, the influence of the moment. Yeah. That's how your brain.
Wow, that's good.
Man, you remember when Him 500 did the event where he rented out the Coca-Cola joint, the Roxy, right? Yeah. Like around that time, Him 500 is the person. The place is the Roxy. Yeah. Now, what are you anticipating?
His event,
what is
the power?
What is the memory? And you're speaking to how their brain already processes information. Yeah. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot.
Bro, it's unlimited frameworks, bro.
It is. And that's how I make it simple, because we even give cheat sheets. So I give you
Can we teach this in how long?
100%.
2 days? 2-day training?
100%, because I give a booklet, right? So it's all the frameworks, but it's visual aids, it's examples, it's also fill in the blanks. Okay. So it'll say, starting your introduction, what do they have to know or believe in order to buy from you? That's how you start your introduction. You'll say, oh, they need to know this, 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 and this. Boom. That's your introduction.
Wow.
All right, what is going to be your transition into it? Then I teach you how to create transitional bridges. So now, of course you can. Then I tell you beyond on stage, here are some other ways you can use this. Hey, if you're meeting with your staff. Hey, if you want to use this in email copy. If you want to use this in social media content, it's HSC. I give you a framework to take the same thing, talk about one thing in every platform. Yeah.
Power, bro. We putting this together, bro.
I think it'll be phenomenal, bro. It's something I you know how picky I am about teaching this.
Yeah.
Because it's dangerous.
It is.
It's dangerous.
You toured it a couple months ago, and I just don't know how you still could just walk in an event as a guest, just hanging out. Like, bro, you might as well share, and then you just got a brand new. I said, wait, you came and spoke for Tarek. I'm like, you didn't prepare that message?
I didn't even know I was speaking.
That's what I'm saying. And you do it every time. It's like, bro, how important, bro, this, I don't care if you're speaking, to be prepared. Bro.
Yeah.
Like you are, Josh always saying, I think Myron says, a prepared man is better than a prepared speech.
Yeah.
You're a prepared man. Myron's a prepared man. Yeah. Like
some things that you can do, other people that are listening can do, create a story savings account is what I'll call it. So as things happen in your life, if you're with your kids, just daily notes, create a folder, call it your story savings account. Just log stories. You don't have to write the whole story, just write the main idea under the framework, person, place, power.
Yeah.
Was sitting with my kids the other day. That's your kids. What do you remember from that moment? Man, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to force myself to not be caught up in work. Now you know you got an underlying thing for people that's trying to balance. I say that I'm doing this for my kids, but the whole time I'm struggling to get back to work, but I thought I'm at work to make money for my kids. How many of you find yourself being distracted? Boom. That's like, so this moment is the story of Kutztown. Just create a bunch of different, in your phone, create a story savings bank where you just lock in stories. What stories should you have in your arsenal? Yeah. You should have you should have an investment story. A time that you had to make an investment. Why? Someone on the other end of that at some point is going to have to make an investment. You should have a success story. You should have a failure story. A time that you failed. You should have an emotional breakthrough story where emotionally you were in a bad place. You should have a hesitation story, a mentor story. Like you start locking these things in that you know. You should have a I thought it wouldn't work story. Why? Someone on the other end is going to think it didn't work. And you just put these in your phone and now you're locked and loaded and you're ready. So at Terica's thing, I said, what do you need them to, like, what do you want them to walk away with? She said, well, I just think there might be some limiting beliefs. Boom. That's all I need. Limiting beliefs is the subject. I need a mental target. What limiting belief do I want to break? I'm sitting in the back of the room. I was like, I want to break the limiting belief that people believe that everything in their life takes a long time. Wow. That's the outcome that I just told you to create. Yeah. So when I started, if you do everything in your life, now I'm working from a framework. I start with a statement. How many of you all have that feeling that happens January 1st? They're like, yeah. If you do everything in your life believing that everything will take a long time, you move slow. If you do everything in your life believing it'll happen fast, you'll move fast. Most people prepare their whole life for marathons instead of sprints, so they miss opportunities. Wow. Now I got something. Yeah. You're going to hear, And everything else that I'm going to say is going to fall underneath that. I'm not going to detour and go to something different. Yeah. I'm going to just sit under between moving fast, between moving slow. Right. Yeah.
Wow, bro. Everybody know they could find you at, but y'all will find him at this workshop. Apply. Bro, link gonna be in the description.
We should do speaking and sales because I think people need both.
Oh yeah, and I could cover a little bit of the sales. You really could cover the whole thing, but I'll come add some stuff. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? I add what I do have. You know what I'm saying? Speaking
and sales for the goal of generating more income, closing more clients, and building brand credibility. That's the event.
Done. Say no more. Look out for it, y'all. I'm letting y'all know that. Let them know where they can find you.
Marcus Y Rosier, Marcus, the letter Y, Rosier. You can't miss the Y. You wouldn't say J without the Z. Don't say Marcus Rosier without the Y.
Hey, I like that. Y'all, we'll see y'all on the next show. Peace.